I'm full, 'cause it was empty. Wind back the clock by a century and then times that by 20, you find yourself smack bang in the middle of a story filled with plenty. Plenty of drama, good v evil, social upheaval, and Pilate's Hall for the people. One word: popularity. And for clarity, treason sealed with a kiss gives reason to believe that this story seeps more plot twist than that Sixth Sense film with Bruce Willis. Now, main character, this guy, who weren't just guy, this guy was God, God's son. Flesh and bones breathe breath, then were a crown of thorns, but we'll get to that later. Let's address the fact there's this crater within us that needs a fill, and the climax happened up Golgotha Hill. Still, we'll get to that in just a minute. First, this guy. This guy was God, fully perfect, fully God. Protagonist of the greatest story ever told. See, this guy came to fulfill the promises of old, to fix up a relationship once broken, to be the fall guy, to become our sin payment token. See, I'm full. I'm full 'cause it was empty. I'm filled with life, life with plenty, and penalty paid, I'm free. But not just free, I'm full. I'm freely full and fully free, all 'cause it was empty. Adam and Eve didn't believe and obey. They went their own way, disobeyed. A perfect relationship with Maker frayed. Because it was empty, it's all changed. My path has been rerouted, remade, rearranged. See, this guy was God. Bore mankind's weight of sin upon a tree, all to pay the penalty. Lived, then died on a cross, all to pay the total cost. All to pay for my mistakes, but I get life. Guess that's called grace. And because he was afflicted, my burden of sin has been lifted, because he said, it is finished. Then, he took his last breath, and taken by death he had died. And just in case, a spear rammed through his side. But a side note for you are not going to believe what happens next. Laid in a tomb, his body so scarred, a boulder blocks the entrance and centurions on guard. But then 3 days later, death lost his hold. And this bit is gold. The grip of sin was over because the boulder had been bowled over. So now, forgiven and freely full and fully free, all 'cause it was empty.
What do you think Easter is all about? I think of chocolatey Easter eggs, lambs jumping, Life of Brian, and lovely bunnies. Hot cross buns to the bloody scene of the crucifixion, and cute chicks to an empty grave. Jesus was killed, buried, and resurrected on the third day. He came back to life, resurrected. Christmas seems easier to believe than Easter. It's just a myth, right? A myth wouldn't stand up in a court of law. Not enough evidence. But what if I told you that Jesus' resurrection could? I invite you to review the evidence. Jesus really did die. The Romans were expert executioners. The spear through Jesus' side produced water and blood, something that only happens when the red blood cells separate from the plasma after it stops circulating around the body. The tomb was really empty. If Jesus' body was still in the tomb when the disciples began telling people of his resurrection, then it wouldn't have taken long for either the Jewish leaders or the Romans to wheel it out and completely dismantle the claims of the early church. Jesus really was seen alive after his crucifixion. Eyewitnesses testify to eating, walking and talking with Jesus after his death. Around 500 people said that they saw him at one time. The accounts are reliable. The Gospels are eyewitness accounts written within the lifetime of those who spent time with Jesus before his death. Any discrepancies with the truth would have immediately been picked up by other eyewitnesses around at the time. Had Jesus not been resurrected, there's no way to explain the explosive rise of the Christian church in the 1st century AD. They had no state power, they didn't spread their ideas through violence, they had no enormous advertising campaign. Only something so extraordinary as the resurrection of Jesus could have spurred on such growth. So what do you think? Compelling evidence? Don't take my word for it. Look, discover and decide from the source material. Review the evidence and see for yourself.